Warning, this is a review of Tradia, episode 87 of Fringe Magic. No audio, video clips from the episode in question are being used in the making of this review, saying that they belong to Hasbro Studios and DHX Media. Rate, comment, favorite, subscribe, and it's great to be back. Man, I hate weeks off. Well, there are some fads that start up that are quite interesting, and after the success of A&E's Storage Wars, everybody wanted to get into storage units. But another minor thing started up as kind of a subsidiary to that. The old art of the trade. That's what this episode is about. The episode Tradia. It's about a trading expo, or what other people in the ghetto like myself would call back in the day the old swap meet. And you never know what's gonna happen at the old swap meet, if you know what I mean. Why are the Harmony Six at the swap meet? Well, actually, the whole princess thing is actually being used this time. Twilight is actually acting as the mediator if there is an unfair trade that needs to be hammered out and the two parties cannot decide on a fair offer. See, the way that the trading fair works here at the returning Rainbow Falls is that what you trade for has to be equal to both the trader and the tradee. In other words, both sides of the deal end up happy. Wow, I wish sports trades were like this. But I digress. This is the part of the review where I spoiled the episode rotten. So if you haven't seen the episode, do yourself a favor, go to the internet, view the episode, and then come back for my thoughts. Seriously, I can't do these reviews without spoiling them. It just helps me stay on track. Well, as we see the Harmony Six re enter Rainbow Falls, we find out about Twilight's job, and that every year the job of mediator switches between the Alicorns. It just so happens to fall on Twilight, seeing that she's the noob. And immediately she's swapped like a Justin Bieber by everybody at the trading expo. She wants to run and hide from the entire situation, but also she decides to take a different approach. Not to sit up there in the VIP throne seats, but actually down on the floor with the normal folk, seeing that she's got something to trade. Some of her old books that aren't of value, seeing that Celestia keeps giving her new books to study. Well, this is quite an interesting fact, seeing that this confirms that the two are still talkies between each other. But also, the other members of the Harmony Six also have their reasons for being at the trading fair. You see, Rainbow Dash is looking for the first Daring Do book in mint condition to finish her collection. Fluttershy is looking for a bird call. Rarity just wants something antique, and Applejack is looking for an antique pie pan. Fluttershy, though, is Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash decide to work together, and so do Applejack and Rarity. Meanwhile, Pinkie Pie is just there to observe the people, and even Spike is looking to trade his Power Ponies comic from Power Ponies in for a new comic. So everybody's out doing things. The majority of the episode, though, follows Rainbow's attempt to get the vaunted book and the many trades within a trade that she has to do to accomplish this. All that Rainbow has to begin is a rusty old Lucky Horseshoe. Would that be the same Lucky Horseshoe from Fall Weather Friends, I wonder? Just a thought. But the person that has the Daring Do book wants a mythical creature that Fluttershy, obviously because of her talents, can calm down and help Rainbow attain. This begins the long trader's journey that has been shown on many of the recent trading shows that have been in and out of TV. One small thing of value is not what the person wants, but if you can create a trade chain of sorts, you can get the item that you desire. For Rainbow Dash, it's about getting this orifice, the two-headed dog, to the owner of the book. But in order to do that somebody needs a Discord light. In order to do that, somebody needs a crystal chalice. And in order to do that, well, you get the idea. Trades lead the trades lead the trades. Meanwhile, Applejack and Rarity decide to partner up and put all their tradables together to get the two items that they most desire, which leads to them arguing and bickering like it's look before you sleep again. Pinkie Pie is actually trying to help Twilight trade her books off, and being a rather good salesman at that. Heck, Pinkie Pie is better than the Flim Flam brothers, if you could imagine that. That and Spike, well, Spike's just kind of hanging around. Twilight doesn't really want to make a quote unquote fair trade, but Pinkie Pie makes quite clear that them's are the rules of the fair. As our three intrepid pairs are doing certain things, we find out how the whole system works. And as Rainbow Dash continues to fail, we continue to feel bad, which it ultimately comes down to the end of the fair. See, Rainbow Dash has accomplished everything she needs to get her vaunted Daring Do book. But the last part of the trade is where it gets interesting. In order to get the orifice that is needed for the book, Fluttershy needs to train the wild animal with the animal's new owner back at Manhattan. When Rainbow Dash notices that the friend is part of the deal and is a mistake, when you know it, the old mediator rule comes into play of an unfair trade, which Twilight has to hammer through. She agrees that it's an unfair trade based on the fact that Rainbow learns the lesson of not trading away a viable thing for the sake of a friendship. In other words, people are more important than things. It's a very valuable lesson, especially in this technological material world we live in. So the trade is made null and void, and Twilight, after some thought and after some Pinkie Pie actual clever thinking, decides not to trade her books because there was nothing of value worth trading them for, based on the fact that they hold material memories of moments in her life and show her progression to where she is now. I, for one, can relate to this based on my vaunted video game collection. Right now, I have about over 145 different video games over the two Xbox consoles. Every video game that I own holds a special time capsule memory of when I bought it, how it was bought, where I was emotionally in life. So I can totally relate with Twilight having a hard time getting rid of her old books, despite of the fact of the library getting overflooded with reading material. On top of this lies lies the notion of Pinkie Pie got her into this mess, although it's quite funny and it resolved itself out. Rarity gets a rare diamond crest necklace. Applejack gets not exactly the pie pan she was looking for, the thing that cooks 5 seconds faster. Rainbow Dash gets the book because it was in Twilight's old book collection. Fluttershy gets a bird call traded off at the last minute, and Spike gets the comic he was after. And poor Pinkie Pie, she just got to enjoy the fun of the swap meet. Everybody wins, every situation is resolved, and it's a nice lesson. But the big thing here is it shows once again Equestria's world building and philosophy that things like trades are more important than straight up purchases. Plus, the old idea of swap meets is still something currently practiced in today's lexicon. Sure, it's not as big as it once was back in the day, but the entire thought of seeing all these kinds of interesting creatures, things of that nature, and the lengths in which ponies will go to get them is an interesting nod. Scott Sotovan, the writer for this episode, did an excellent job with a rather simple plot. Although it's more Rainbow Dash torture, it turned out just as well. Everybody fits their role, and even for the first time for all the haters, Twilight's princess role is actually used effectively in both the way that Twilight reacts to all the attention and how she can be the great mediating force when needed to be, but still be down on the ground level with the simpletons. You see, this episode best expresses what I think Twilight is trying to be as a princess. She's not trying to be high and mighty. She's trying to be on the level. See, she doesn't want to be known as a princess, she just wants to be known as herself. An expression that has been repeated 4 times earlier this season, but I think this is the best example of it. Trade, you might not have anything memorable, unlike last week's episodes, but this one will most certainly stick out as something unique and different. Sure, there may not be a lot of rewatchability, but I guarantee you your thoughts will turn to being interesting. There isn't really a major drawback outside of Pinkie Pie kind of being overly aggressive again, but it's nice to see every character in their respective role and every couple side division expressed. And it's nice to see that Rainbow Falls actually gets an episode that more shows it in a more relaxed, less pressure sense situation. But the major thing is there's continuity all over the place in the episode. I challenge you to find as many continuity nods as you possibly can when watching this episode again or for the first time. You'll be surprised how many you find. That's why I give Trade Ya out of a possible six of four out of the possible six. This episode may not be remembered right away, but it shows an interesting part of equestrian culture. Everything's tied up nice in a knot, and every character does well what they do well. Well, it's very straightforward, easy to take, and I would even say this is a great beginner episode. So, until next week, find peace in your own nirvana, and thanks for watching the new 26.